What's going on, everybody? James here. 22 years selling on eBay. Will be 23 years August of this year. And I want to make a video about there's so many people who are dropping off of eBay, quitting, like Josh going back to a job because the money's just not there for what he needs right now. And of course, we know the way the last couple of years have gone with the eBay website and how big of a mess it is. And it's racking up a lot of casualties, if you will. So I'm like, what can I do to really help anybody? So I think I want to talk about how I got here. I've talked about little bits and pieces here and there. I figured, how about just make a video that is solely about how I got here. And I'm going to start in like '01. I'm not going to start where I was before. Most of you guys already know that story. But I'm going to go through some pictures on Facebook too that I've put up over the years, and maybe that'll spark some thoughts and content for this video also. So I'll shrink this down in a minute and we'll go to my Facebook photos and just kind of page through it as I'm talking. So you got something to stare at other than my sexy self. But anyway, starting your own reselling business is not easy. It never has been. Even when you could put stuff on eBay and almost anything would sell, it still took a lot of work to get it done. It takes a lot of business know-how, something I didn't have at the beginning of this. Jan didn't really have at the beginning of this. And we just kind of flew by the seat of our pants. I just learned along the way. So it was basically like, the dues were my college, So I'm going to start out by saying what I've said plenty of times before. This business at one time, I had it $120,000 in debt. That is on personal business cards at the time. Couldn't get business loans at that time, and used personal credit cards. The second line on the house for cash, and that's how we got started, since we couldn't get a loan. And with that $120,000, that did not include the bad decision of buying a $60,000 Yukon XL at that time also. Got to haul the stuff around, right? Got to be able to pick it up and got to have the truck to do it, right? So it wasn't the smartest decision to buy a decked out $20,000 truck and then spending an extra $10,000 on spinners. But I did. So all in all, with the truck, the business was probably a good $180,000 in debt. But here's what happened is, like I said, we were kind of learning as we went anyway. But I also knew you make your money when you buy. If you've got a great deal staring you down in the face, you can't walk away from it. Not if you want to create a long-term business. And I'm not saying, trust me, I'm not saying this is the way to do it. I'm just telling you the way it happened for me. So at that time, 2001, 2002, when we started the business up, at the time, a lot of music stores were closing down, CD record stores. And that's what my expertise was in. So any chance I got to clear out a store, I did. Everything from, I'm going to just go ahead and shrink this down just in case. We'll start going through some stuff. But everything from the stores I worked at to CD warehouses, even traveling to clean out music and record stores. That's what I did, because I knew that if I take this stuff, and since I ain't gonna be able to get through it all, put it in storage, that hopefully it will go up in value. That was another one of my goals, or business plan, if you will, was if I do have to sit on this stuff, the stuff that I have an eye for, I know it goes up in value. So that was video games, toys, music, things like that, because I started the business with my collection of video games and CDs that I had collected over the past, 10 years, from going to thrift stores and just building my own collection off of, my paychecks I got at the music store. So selling that stuff then showed me how all that went up in value since when I bought it on clearance and things like that. I'd go to Spencer's, any music related items that were clearance down, like the Gene Simmons bust that you see in the daily video that was bought then. I probably paid like $25 for it, something like that. So I knew the stuff that I liked would go up in value. So I had no problems clearing out all these stores and racking up this debt. It was almost, I guess you could call it an ignorance bliss, or just a willing to take a chance. I mean, I came from nothing. And then all of a sudden to come from nothing and then have, this new truck, $180,000 in debt. And you're like, whoa, what's going on here? Then when the Goodwill bins opened here in St. Louis, they didn't cherry pick anything. So here's another opportunity. You make your money when you buy. So we were going down there almost every day, filling up the truck with high quality items. Cherry pick, try to make the money back as quick as I can, throw the rest in storage, and just try to keep up on the debt, paying the monthly, what is due on the debt, if you will. I always had it in the back of my head that it almost came from a little bit of fear. What if there's one day we can't source? Because as a reseller even at the beginning, I knew not all things come to an end. I'm trying to think of some ways I used to source that eventually went away. Well, like the Goodwill, they started cherry picking, so you didn't get as good quality of stuff. The music stores were closing down, so I couldn't just go in and buy collectible CDs. I'm sure I'll think of some more. But this is when I used to buy shoes at Ross. But I had no fear of taking on that debt, because I had a vision that all I'd have to do is stop sourcing for a year or 2 years, and I can make that money back up and pay off the debt. So that's the way I kind of looked at it. During all this time, also, I was raising the boys. Adrian was 3 when I met Jan. Alex was 10. So I did all the, since I was at home starting the business, I was the one doing all the running and what have you also for the boys. That was a cool window port I had. But so I would sleep 4 hours a day. I sacrificed to build the business. I only slept 4 hours a day and worked the rest of the day and or did run errands, whatever I had to do for the boys. That's along with keeping the house clean. At the time, we probably had 3 or 4 dogs. So just a lot of different, things going on. So I think the point there I'm trying to make is you can do it even if you got life going on at the same time. You just got to find a way to sacrifice. And for me, that was only sleeping 4 hours a day. I'd sleep from like 2 to 6, and the rest of the time, I looked forward to when the boys went to bed at 10 o'clock. So I knew that for the next 4 hours, I could just focus in on listing items and working. And that was 4 hours of silence in the house. I didn't have to worry about anything except maybe letting the dogs out. And I could focus. And I still remember the feeling I used to get when 10 o'clock hit and I could just start pounding out stuff, listing. This is from 2012. This is when I was selling on Amazon and eBay. And so there's 3 more of those here with all these CDs in it. So you can't be afraid to work, and you have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice something more times than not to really get something going. That's when I was buying clearance. Looks like a lot of these are from a Nike clearance. That's a blurry picture. Nike clearance store with all those prices. So yeah, so not just buying out CD stores, buying out video game stores. We'd go to clearance stores, buy shoes. We'd go to Ross and buy shoes. We'd go to obviously thrift stores and just buy. And we were just constantly buying anything that we could make $1 on. And at least I at the time didn't worry about the debt. This was a good CD collection I picked up. I think I picked this up at a flea market, if I remember correctly. But and it's mostly metal. And go to flea markets. I mean, everything. I've done it all just to buy as much as I could, knowing that if I didn't get it listed today, it would probably go up in value tomorrow. I can't remember exact year, so I won't go into that. What is this from? Nook Simple Touch. I don't recognize this bag. Okay, scored Barnes & Noble clearance items. Okay, so there's another one. Barnes & Noble. Clearance items from Barnes & Noble Toys. So, of course, while I'm working, I am probably just, making the minimum payments on the debt, on the credit cards, on the second to the house. This is when my office was downstairs, one of the transformations of the basement. But there was about a 2-year time where I stopped thrifting. I want to say, it was probably the first year my dad moved in and the year before that, I want to say. Those were the years that I really buckled down and stopped buying and just started focusing on what I have so I could get the debt paid down. Because if you think about it, what percentage of the money you make is spent every month on inventory? Well, being that I was buying out lots and stuff, but just take your percentage. That money was now going into my pocket. It was going into it to pay the bills, to paying for all these years of just buying stuff. Here's from 2012, probably a Goodwill Bins buy. Was it Goodwill Bins at 2012? I don't remember. Probably so. Going to the post office. Hopefully, I got all the pictures in this folder that I'm in. You're going to see some packed trucks. It was the first time I got a label printer in, not a label, but a, what are they called? Not the laser, but the thermal in 2012. That was the top of my desk back in 2012. Some of the stuff I had displayed. Again. And again. That's when eBay used to send you stuff. This is when I used to alphabetize my media. As you can see there. Nice, neat, and clean. But alphabetizing was not the way to go. It takes too long to file the stuff. Because that's a big thing too. You have to be able to create systems that work with you and your items, so you can be as efficient as possible, so you can get through as much stuff as possible. I ain't gonna say you, I'm saying me. The way I had to do it in order to get through the stuff like I did. So for those 2 years, I stopped sourcing and made a big dent in the debt. And then that's when I started changing over to, I started thinking a little differently, going, okay, what can I buy that I see all the time that's real cheap and I could probably make a good profit on it? And I came across hats. I'm like, all right, let's try that. So I started getting into the hats. So I would, list 100 hats and I'd be like, okay, I'm making this much money with 100 hats listed. Can I double that with 200 hats? Put up 200 hats, and this is before everybody was selling hats. My income doubled. I'm like, all right, this is a nice, safe routine here to kind of add on to what I'm already doing without getting in over my head again, and to keep moving forward. So I'd get the hats up to 500. And at 500, I'm like, okay, can I double my income if I get my hats to 1,000? Got my hats to 1,000, my income was doubled. And that worked all the way up until about 10,000. And then everybody started selling hats. So then my, money came down a little bit. Some computer stuff I bought in 2011. This is from 2011. And then, so I started buying the hats while I was still paying off what was left of the debt. Still working on it. This is so funny with VHS tape. This is a clearance at Kmart. I would go in after Halloween and buy all their costumes for like 90% off. So that's what this is. This was in 2011. November 12th, 2011. And then when COVID hit, actually before COVID hit, we were able to finally get a loan from a bank. So the debt we did have on the personal credit cards, we were able to transfer them over to a loan through a bank. So I'm like, cool. So then it was a different bank than what I was doing business with the business. So I ended up just totally switching to that bank, since this is the first time we were ever able to get a loan. Mainly because we had like 5 years of back sales showing how much money this business actually brought in. So this was the first time they finally gave us a loan. Still building the hats and making headway on the debt while still pulling from storage. We're still in 2011 here. This is when I bought out Borders. When the Borders near us closed. that too. We had the Corvette at the time, and I just happened to be, I think Jan took the truck to work, so I had the Corvette that day and ended up filling that thing up. This is Borders when we were like checking out at Borders, because just every cart that they had, I filled with the media and pulled it all over to the checkout, saying, "Ring me up." Those were fun times. But then when COVID came around, we were able to get the one of the free money from COVID, so that basically got rid of the debt. So didn't get rid of all of it, but then we were able to get a loan from COVID also at like 1%. So I took the debt that we did have left, put it on the COVID loan of 1%, took the free COVID money, paid off part of the debt before switching the rest over. And then it was pretty easy to keep caught up and get the debt gone at that point. So even though I've been doing this 22 years, the business wasn't debt free until so what would that be? The end of 21 maybe? Because the COVID year helped with, making so much money. Was able to just, I shouldn't be talking dates. It's either somewhere in there. I'm wasting time thinking about it, the exact date. But it took that long, and that, it was a long plan. It was a business plan. So business plans aren't, usually laid out and achieved in 2 or 3 or even 5 years. So, and this was an unorthodox way of doing things, at least in the reselling world, because everybody you talk to at that time, and even there's even almost a shift in it today. You can't make a living on eBay. What are you talking about? But you can, and you just gotta figure it out. There's a million ways to do things. This is when I used to buy out FYE and their clearance items. This was in 2010 here. You just have to figure it out. There's always a way to do things. You just got to figure out what works best for you. Like I said before in some of the past videos, I would not, if you don't have the stomach to handle the way I did it, it can be very stressful. It was very stressful on Jan because she couldn't see the outcome that I could. And I'd always try to reassure her with all the little things I've said in this video. But I understand why it could be difficult to digest. That's a lot of debt. And it was on personal, because nobody would give us the business loan at that time. So this was in 2015 here. So I was still going out and buying stuff at that time. I was just looking for better quality stuff at the time. As you can see here, these were decent dollar items that ended up selling for me. This was in 2015. I made a lot of money on all these. These are brand new sport hats. I ended up, probably about 300 or 400 I ended up picking up from all the St. Vincent's on those. This was a friend of mine in 2015. We were at Savers thrifting. And actually, if you watch this morning's video on that record I sold this morning, this is the day I bought those records. They were all like promo 45s that I picked up at Savers. Let's see, this is 2015. Looks like I went to House of Hoops and bought some shoes to resell. That looks like FYE, so I went to FYE, and then probably the bins. And there's the shoes I got at House of Hoops. Then I ended up reselling. I think these were CDs I bought off a person, if I remember correctly. In 2015, let me turn on my receiver. My receiver turned off. In 2015, I started buying from a clearance shoe store. You've heard me talk about that in the past. This is one of the pictures from that time period. So here's one of the smaller loads. I don't know how many pictures I actually have up, so of that. So when I started buying out the clearance store of City Gear, this is in 2015. I bought a couple of huge lots of toys from a guy at a flea market. And so this was a little bit of that. And there was a lot of Star Wars toys in there. I probably still have some of this in storage also. So there's the rifle. Here's the picture I got that's signed. I still have that. Here's one of the loads of the toys. And this is 2015. So even in 2015, if there was an offer that fell in my lap and it fell into the you make your money when you buy, I bought. I think I filled up my car twice with all these toys for $900, if I remember correctly. Because he just didn't want to deal with the stuff anymore. There's some of it spread out. Some more there. Some of it spread out. A little bit up close. This is what I now call the East Wing. I still have these two items over there. They're just covered up. You can't really see them right now. My pinball machine, Campton Fantastic, and my PlayStation 2 Neon. Some more of the Star Wars. Some there. This is one of my storage areas from all the CDs I bought out over the years. And then also, too, with the local record store, the biggest used record store in St. Louis, I'd buy out his back room. I've done that 3 or 4 different times. Usually averaging about 10 cents an item. Again, make your money when you buy. I'll get to it when I get to it. Bunch of albums. CDs up here. These are all CDs. Another view of the room. Another view. Or another room. And more. A little Nirvana. MF Gold Mobile Fidelity. This was an old picture I was trying to do research on. That's it right there. I may still have that also in storage. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do because I don't remember ever selling it. Because I don't remember ever finding any information about it. So that's still in storage also. Picked up at a Goodwill. Oh, what is this from? This is from 2015, eBay. $1,200 in one day there. 25,000. 90-day total of 106. That's when eBay was giving you 20% discount instead of just 10. When I started doing the metal cubes, some rock revival. Close the ICD. I ended up finding 2 of these. Ended up selling them. Actually, I sat on them for quite a long time also, because I always wanted to get out and play on them. Some more independent-ish rap. So that was in 2015. This is what is now the East Wing, also in 2015. This is all stuff that was not listed at that time. So as you can see, we would just shop, fill up bags. On this week's episode of Hoarders, we welcome you to Maryland Heights, Missouri. Another angle of the basement. Another angle. This is the shipping area now. So I'm going to put my camera right here on my day videos. And you know that shot. It just looks different now. And more toys there. Brass kitten. These were from Ross. I ended up keeping these. I actually still use these to this day when we travel. I ended up getting a set for me, and then I found, I think, a large one, another large one, and another small one, which I sold, and it paid for mine. More independent wrap. Should push 500 on the low end, so about 100 a piece on those. When a friend of mine, we would go pick up shoes from the clearance store. Here's one trip to the post office. The whole back is filled. I have boxes coming out of the sunroof. The whole passenger side is packed in there, the middle, the armrest. Gotta do what you gotta do. There's another shoe purchase, filled up the whole truck, even the passenger seat there. That's 2015. Those were a good year too, when I started selling these shoes, because I made good money. I think if I remember right, the average bought was $13 a pair. The average sold was about $75. So, and there's more of the shoes. And see, making like the shoe decision here, that helped really take a chunk out of the debt also. So when you're when I was going through all those years in debt, trying to find the better buys here and there when they fell into my lap or whatever, in order to try to make headway on that debt also. So this was an item I found when we were in Nashville. I went to Antique Archaeology. So I paid $32 for this pin and sold it for $70 on eBay from American Pickers. This is when I was in Texas and I found a Texas Hippie Coalition t-shirt. Some old pictures. Used to get a lot of Pillsbury items. CDC signed. More music. This is a collectible Soundtrack to Great Outdoors. Huge Wii. Oh, this is from when I bought out. Yeah, uh, it was a recycling center that was closing, and they contacted me, and I paid $100 per Gaylord for all the stuff that came from the St. Louis public libraries. And so it was CDs, DVDs, and video games in there. So these were all video games that came from uh, a recycling place at the time. More shoes that I bought out. So I always had in my head that I was always going to find a good deal. Here's one of my storage units before it got filled. More shoes. That's when I hit 20,000 listings. That was in 2015. More shoes. This is when Walgreens would do clearance after Halloween, and I would go in and clean them out. Just go around hitting all the Walgreens when they went 90% off on Halloween stuff. There's a whole picture there of it all. That was just one day haul. So it's always about keeping an eye on that next deal. I may even have some of this stuff still in storage also. I know I do the big hanging ones. If I can, these guys. I think I got about 3 or 4 Sallys in storage and a couple of Jacks. So who knows what else of this I got in storage still. This was the U-Haul truck I had to rent to get the from the recycling place to get the Gaylords. As you can see right there. 2015, that was obviously a year I was going all out buying. A couple of CDs from that lot that I like, kept for myself. I probably ended up, I did end up selling them, but this was my sorting area in the garage for all my Gaylords of stuff. Because there was some trash in there, so stuff that couldn't be saved. More shoes. This was the last 3 boxes of all that Gaylord stuff. Got through that pretty quick. Me driving the U-Haul truck. That's when my sister was working for me for a little bit. She would do, what was she? I think I had her listing for a little bit. She'd come over and I'd have her organize and list some things and stuff like that. That is one of the video game stores I bought out. This looks like a night clearance store. Let's see, today's haul, spent $675, not counting 2 shoes I got for myself. Almost half of this was on some shoes, and the rest were CDs, video games, t-shirts, and some odds and ends type of stuff. Biggest score was an indie metal CD, which should bring $65 to $75. Paid 50 cents. More CDs there. More shoes. Taking goofy pictures. And another round of shoes. Those Steve Madden shoes, I think I paid $5 a, yeah, I think like $5 a piece for them. Had a whole truckload of those. Sister again. This looks And this says I'm going to the post office, but over here, what is this? Okay, that's outside of it. So this is another load going to the post office with a full truck. All you can see is my head. And I had some hats made up. This is what I'm looking for. This is a book I've got around here somewhere. That when I first started selling on eBay, all my high-priced dollar items, I'd print out a page like this and I made a book of all my high dollar items when I first started selling. As you can see, this December 24th, 2001 to January 3rd, 2002 is when this was listed. Sold for $155 as Depeche Mode promo CD. You can see they ended up not being a registered user after they bought it. But if I remember right, they paid for it and they got it. So oh wait, here it is. Let me do the math. It says 71 pairs for $500. What does that equate to? 500 divided by 71. $7 a pair. Going to the post office. Some of the local stuff I've had in storage that I got way back when. Some Grateful Dead, Frank Zappa. I didn't put where I picked this stuff up at. This was the East Wing at one time. East Wing also. All this stuff is listed. East Wing again, all listed. The East Wing, the other side of the room. And the flip side. It's probably a Goodwill. So this is probably when I started in on the hats, about 2016. And I started just piling up on the hats and getting that thing going. Some plush. So we're into 2016 now. Some DVDs, video games, more CDs. This is when I would track how much I was listing. $1,000 in merch listed daily. This is in 2016. So in 1 month, I got $41,367 worth of stuff listed. This looks like a big score from somewhere. Today's haul. Clothes, hats. Ooh, excuse me. I don't put where I got them. Goodwill bins. This is when the one in Bridgeton opened up for the first time, February 18th, 2016. So this was, I guess, the first day. So, and that's what I scored that day. Got a little, but pretty much the same as downtown. The first couple of years used to be golden at the outlets. Very slow on turning around bins, and it's not really worth the time. I ended up getting this at the bins too. That's still in storage because I never tested it. I still have that mixing board. Some Nightmare stuff from the Goodwill. This is one of my old storage units. Totally packed. Try to see if there's anything in some media. The sister. Old picture. Some Dart items. From a friend, I ended up buying his old X-Men collection before he moved overseas. It's always cool finding a cool cart cover at the bins. Probably still have that one in storage too. Animal. Used to hit Ross a lot. You can see all these bags are from Ross. And then all these are from the clearance shoe store. And the Ross stuff is all shoes in those bags. was in 2016 when not everybody was doing it. So, oh, it's like, what's going on? My sister over there taking pictures for me at that time. CDs. More CDs. This is when they would call me. Friend at Goodwill's called me over because they had 2 cartfuls of CDs for me. So I'd run over and grab them all. Video games. This is right after Prince passed away. I went into some of my storage, went through all my cassettes to find all my Prince stuff because I knew I had a lot of Prince cassettes. So I found those and listed those. I ended up finding more later. Oh, there they are right there. I don't know if that was the next day. That was the same day. Okay. More shoes. So 2016, still buying shoes. And there's another shoe haul. Oh, that was my storage. My size 11s are stacked up, so I need you to go buy a pair or 4. I had them separated by size. Some fishing reels. Not sure what that was. Some baseball stuff. More baseball items. So this stuff was all bought at an auction by a guy I used to buy my cars from, and I would sell this stuff for him on consignment. So all that stuff was part of it. It's one of my things downstairs up in the ceiling that I created. That's another one. And another. And another. All that stuff's still up in there too. I need to pull it down and get it sold. So whenever I buy shoes, the boys got their first pick if they wanted a couple of pairs or anything for themselves. And that was another storage bin before it got filled. Some metal CDs here. There's some good stuff in there. Oh, that's that same one with the Grateful Dead, just up closer. Okay. I don't remember where I bought that stuff from. But yeah, I mean, it's hard work, man, to succeed, but you've got to put in the work, and that comes with not just the buying, but listing and getting your money back as quick as possible. And like I said, I just wasn't afraid to. I still got a bunch of these posters left. I bought them at Kmart, 89 cents a piece. Probably sold through half of them, and I put the rest of the half in storage. I figured they were going to go for more when he passes. And this was in 2016. They weren't really selling for that much. I think I got $5 a piece out of them at that time. So I sold half of them, put the rest in storage. So those will get listed, when he passes away. If he passes before I do, it is. Another buy on the shoes. Computer problems. My new computer because of the computer problems. So that was my computer at one time. Some Star Wars toys. And see, that's the beauty about being an everything seller is I was getting anything and everything from everywhere. You know, it was about finding the good deal because you make your money when you buy. There's more video games there. Some yearbooks. More Hot Wheels. And now, as I said, I'm sitting here 22 years. More shoes. With a debt-free business and 5 storage areas full of merchandise that, if you've been paying attention for the last couple of weeks, you've seen me pull decent dollar stuff from. And there should be a lot more to come. Like something like this, I probably would have thrown it in storage because they weren't worth very much at the time. So I have no idea. I know I got a lot more 8-tracks in storage also. I don't know if I have pictures of that buy in here. There's another shoe clearance buyout. Some toys. Another trip to the post office. Post office. Some of the Star Wars being listed. A lot of media. All that for $10. Don't mind if I do. Wonder where I picked that up. Oh, I think I picked it up from a person who was getting out of reselling. Some toy Predator. I even bought clearance stuff from 7-Eleven. These were Slurpee cups. I may still have those in storage. This was Walgreens clearance. And that was a day of going around hitting all the Walgreens. Then also 70% off then. Okay, I thought it was 90. 70% off with an additional 15% off employee discount. Because Jan worked at Walgreens at the time. That's what it was. So all that. This was, I found it at the Goodwill for $2 and it was full. I didn't take a picture of it full. It's got all the figures in it. I remember following a guy around hoping he would set it down, put it back, and he ended up putting it back, and I grabbed it. This is a FYE clearance buyout in 2016. You see Zelda Yahtzee. Hopefully I got some of this stuff still in storage too, because I know a lot of this probably went up in value. At least something like the Zelda Yahtzee and stuff, I would think. And this big Lynx character. Hopefully I still got some of that stuff in storage. And that is what I ended up with from the FYE that trip. And it was all toys. That's some of them there I started listing. Some wrestling VHS tapes. So as you can see, when I say, everything seller, I went after everything. It didn't matter. If I could make money on it, I was going to buy it. These are hats I got from the clearance shoe store. Ended up paying like $1 a piece for the hats there. All new. More shoes from there also. $36,000 in 31 days. 10,907 days. That's a post office run. I had to make 2 runs that day. It looks looking like 2 hauls to the post office. Some elephants having sex. I remember finding that big old. That thing's huge. I think I got sell for 60. So yeah, I think I got about 60 out of it, somewhere in there. Ed Hardy helmet. I remember finding that, selling that. That old toy chest thing. I think I sold that. I don't remember. 7 years ago. It may still be in storage too. TWA blanket, or towel, I should say. Blues. Oh, damn. My thing turned off again. Ugh. I'm gonna get that back up. And actually, this jacket, I don't know if you can hear me, so I'm kind of just. This jacket right here, actually, a friend of mine that I knew when I was younger. This was her family's company, and I thought I sent it to her, but when I was cleaning out my office the other day, I found it. I sent her an email and go, hey, I thought I sent this to you. So we're going to meet up for lunch, and I'll just give it to her. So some Accubat racquetball with baseball. And I don't remember what that was exactly, but they sold for decent money then. This was a flea market buyout also. Or was that? Maybe that one wasn't. No, I think the flea market one, I had more Prince CDs. Goodwill outlet. I like finding old letters and stuff. Another clearance shoe store buyout again. Plush. Toys. I've sold it all. Vintage news stock. Sold it. Vintage Nike Air Jordan shirt. I love that. Life is not a garden. Stop acting like a hoe. I need to shop here more often. That's a Savers too. And I know I didn't sell that, so that's got to be in storage somewhere too, because I never found enough information about it to sell it. Spent $400 that day at Savers. Got all that stuff. It's pretty cheap for Savers. This was when Red Racks was in our area. That's a Savers. So now we're into 2017. This is 4 people checking me out because I had so much. That's Savers. That was in 2017, so the vintage Susie Bogus shirt, or I forget how much that ended up going for. This is going to be long gone by now. Yeah. Some old stuff I sold there. Furby. Sears satellite. A light up sign. This was the Hastings buyout. I think this was the one in Tennessee. This guy was stressed to the max, man, because I was buying out the whole store, and I guess he's a manager. It's pretty much going to be his last day at work. So he just wasn't happy. I don't blame him. I ended up going across the parking lot and buying pizza and sodas and everything for everybody in the store. But it was all 90% off since I was taking it all. No, 10 cents a piece. But he had to ring up every single thing, scan everything. They couldn't do it by quantity or anything. So I bought so much stuff, I had to mail stuff back home. That's the U-Haul I rented on the way back home from vacation when I was hitting these Hastings. The MTV jacket, I found this in Smoky Mountains. There's the back, Headbangers Ball. It was the owner's daughter's, and she ended up selling it to me for $60, and I sold it for $200, I believe it was. And of course, we hit the Coach store. I probably got still some of this Coach stuff, Pac-Man Coach stuff in storage also. I know the watches are sold. I was able to make money off of them pretty quick. This would have been probably the Nike clearance store in the Smoky Mountains. Same here. Yeah, because we're in the cabin we stayed in at that time. When I was buying new computers. This is another Hastings. Bags of CDs as low as 2 cents a piece. Gotta love it. So there it is. That's the one in Cape Girardeau. Another Nike clearance. This is the Hastings buy. I think that was the one that was down in Cape. Man, it was fun just shopping like this. I miss it. More so. This one's Clarksville, Tennessee, when I filled the truck. These were a bunch of first pressing Target CDs I found at FYE. Somebody had just brought them in the day before, and I saw the spine. I started grabbing them and opening them up there, and because I knew they were going to be first pressings. Is this? Maybe this one isn't. Is this FYE? I thought I got a U2 one at that time also. Yes. Where's it at? Oh, this one, U2 War. This is a reverse colorway. It's usually purple with the green dashes, where this one's green with the purple dashes. So it was the reverse. And there was less than 10 of these made in that color. Asking price at the time I got written down here, $1,000 to $1,500. I don't remember what I got out of it. I think I got about $900 out of it. I forgot all about that. There's a few more. Sold that for $109, independent wrap. More toys listed. I still got a bunch of these. This is an independent wrap thing that didn't take off, and I got tons of those. And that was a yard sale, I believe, I went to. I think that was on the way to Hastings, yep. That was one of the cards in Hastings. That was another trip. I went down there a few different times, so like this time they were 35 cents a piece, so this is one of the earlier trips down there. This is FYE toy buyout. More. More. You make your money when you buy, and if you can find the right deals, man, it will all catch up. in a positive way. I was so happy that all my decisions worked out, because it could have drastically went the other way. This is FYE stuff. Could have went the other way very fast if I didn't find all these stuff over the years, you know. So I guess 2016 was not a year I stopped buying. So maybe it was more like 2017. So there's when I just used to put the stuff on shelves before I put them in boxes. That got old real quick. Spent 194 here. Should make around 2K. Don't see where I got it. Oh, these are some bedding. I got those, I think, at St. Vincent's also. They're bedding, sports bedding, pillowcases and such. Seagram's picture, Converse, or Adidas. Adidas and Converse. Yes. DVDs. Post office, drop off, Affliction hat. Beat Street and Breaking cassettes. Simon. Another Target CD. That's when I made my picture taking station for clothes. But anyway, this video's gone on long enough. One of my storage lockers at the time. That one's been emptied out. That's another view of it. Video games. Alright, that's enough. Good Lord, this video went off. He-Man stuff. I could keep going. Tried to document as much as I could. So I paid $6 for this lightly used Rumba. At the time. Poster. Brawling Buddies, or whatever they're called. Poster. Another poster. Les Claypool. Where is this? What did I put here? When you've been picking St. Louis for 17 years, deals just thankfully fall into your lap, and you can get a load every day if you wish. I don't remember. Oh, this is, I think, from the friend of mine, Bill, who just had the stroke. I think this was a purchase from him in 2017. Yes. That's what that was. I think that was the first load I bought from him, actually. First big load of toys, anyway. That was a good day there. Look at that. Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, Resident Evil, Crash, Rock Revival, St. Louis Arena, Beastie Boys hat. There we go, getting into the hats. Let's see, when you get a text from a friend at the outlet asking if I want some hats. Just processed 487 hats at 24 cents a piece. Biggity bam. It's been a fun ride, I can tell you that. Some electrical supply. I even sold electrical parts. Picked them up at the Goodwill paid $3 for all of them. Will bring around $200. I remember them selling those. These were some good money. Let's see, I got here worth about $600 for all those. Amanda gave me these for free. She didn't want to deal with them anymore. That was a cool, like, overall jacket thing I sold. All right, I gotta get back to work. Transformers. More clearance shoes. I think those are from actually outlet. Nike outlet and Adidas outlet. More hats. Let's see, this is 2018. I have about 1,000 hats waiting to be listed, so I'm going to spend a few days on get my number listed over 3,000. So in 2018, I only had 2,000 hats listed, going on 3,000. All right, some 8-tracks, a bunch of old video games. Vintage. I used that to make an old thing on my store. This used to be like, changed this into Urban Picker, and it was like my store name. Got all this from the Goodwill outlet. It was all CDs. Pedro. Video games. What did that say? How much? $6 sold. Oh, I only paid $6 for all those. That's probably still in storage. I don't think I ever sold that. I don't think I ever listed it. Post office. Diving gear. Sold it. Those were the stickers I gave out for a little bit when I would mail something out. CD, VHS, Goodwill outlet trip. Goodwill outlet. All right. Oh yeah, that's still in storage too. It's a Kent scooter, vintage Kent scooter. I never put that up. I ended up selling that though. I got a couple $100 out of that. That was a Ben's find. That was huge too. That was very cool. Records, Kishi shirt. That one I think sells for like $60 or something with Sammy on it. I kept that. Still got it because my dad's bosses came in from Japan and took him out to dinner at McDonald's. Took him out to lunch on one of the trips we went on, and I was with him. And his boss bought me that hat at McDonald's, and I don't know where it went over the years. So when I found that, I'm like, I got to keep this. Post office. Nerf guns. But I still got a lot of Nerf guns in storage. Might be the one thing that probably I don't think's gone up in value. More clothes. Pants. Anyway. Hey, look, a Wii and a Super Nintendo. Some electronics. When I bought some new totes. That was Savers, I believe. Well, maybe not. I don't remember exactly. I still got these big old stand-ups still in storage. When I worked at the music store, I'd bring those home. That's long gone. I think I got about $500 out of that. All right, enough. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you all in the next video. Later.